everyone, today I am going to be starting this picture here. This is from a book called Cottage Core. It's a Morgan O'Brien series printed by Colouring Heaven, one of their smaller pocket editions. Now it is Annee Day, as you can see, one of Morgan O'Brien's character books. Now as far as I'm aware, this is a reprint of his Annee Day book, but on the Colouring Heaven paper. But there are a couple of exclusive pictures in here which I think I've coloured already. One of them is this, which I haven't coloured, and one of them is that one, which I have. So there's a couple of exclusives which aren't available in his version of the book if you buy it from Amazon. Right, I've got my Staedtler Design Journey pencils, and where I thought I would start was this wallpaper. Now I'm interested in this because it's in the background, but it's quite detailed. So what I'm going to try and do is do it quite lightly in pale colours so that it sort of sits back a little bit, and then try and do other things sort of more bold so they stand out. And that is how it's been drawn. This is drawn quite faintly. So I just thought I would start there. Now, again, as I say, I'm not sure. I'm sure Morgan O'Brien's version is still in print and available, but I'm not really sure about the Colouring Heaven one, whether they've sold out. But what I will do, this is 43, and I'm going to do these florals in this colour. What I will do is I will put all the relevant links in the description so you can find it if you want it. And I have got a flip through of it, so you can go and have a little look at that to remind yourself of what's in there if you want to, if you're interested in purchasing. So as I say, you can get the Morgan O'Brien version from Amazon, and the Colouring Heaven version from their own website. I don't know how the prices differ. You know, you also need to think, I just need to put a piece of paper under here. I haven't got a piece of paper under the page, so I'm going to rustle. So I've done the page behind. It's the yoga one. That might make a nasty noise, we'll see. So you see, I'm keeping this really light. I don't want it to stand out. That's going to make a horrible noise. I'm going to take that piece of paper away. I am wondering whether these are buds of the same flower. I think they probably are. So really gentle, excuse me, just a light layer like that. And then the centres of the flowers, I'm going to do a very pale yellow. We have 117 here. I think I've got the colour names written down on my swatch chart. Light ochre. Just going to do the centres again. I'm pressing really lightly. I don't want it to be too dark. Now we've got some berries. So where are we going to do those? I think I'd go 703. Where is that? Is that this one? It's sort of orangey brown. It's quite a pale looking colour though. And I'm going to, rather than doing them really hard, which is how I'd normally want them to stand out, just going to do them gently like this. Now I've chosen this picture because it is a colour along on Instagram. Now Amanda Colours, you may or may not have come across Amanda Colours. She does a selection of colour alongs each month. Basically she chooses a picture and she's like, off you go. Go and you know, colour this picture, which is lovely fun. I'm just picking my green. I'm going to go for the sap green. It isn't the lightest of greens, but some of them are a little bit fluorescent, and you know. So this is 52, but I'm just going to press gently, and I'm going to do all the leaves with this that I can see. I'm struggling to make it. That's a stem there, and that's a leaf. So again, just really gentle. So she picks a page from Annee Day every month, and also picks a page from a couple of other books as well that I don't have. One's about dogs and one's sea or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, she picks a picture each month, so everyone has a go. And then you can put it up on your Instagram account if you have one and tag her, and then she'll sort of share them all, I think. That's what she does. So anyway, I thought I would have a go at her page, and then you can too. You're very, very welcome to do it my way if you wish, or your own way, or, you know, a slightly different take on my way, whatever you want to do really. Now, what's that? I'm thinking, what's this? I'm going to go for another leaf there. So, yeah, I thought it'd be fun to just have a little go, do her hashtag. Now, I can't remember what the hashtag is. The best thing to do would be to visit her Instagram page and have a look. She also has a channel, a YouTube channel actually. I don't know if she colours her pages on those or not, you know, her tagged pages. I know she's got a video out today actually, which was her completed pages from February to July, I think it was, something like that. Now, what's that? Is that a rug? A tassel? Or is it her hand? What do you think? I think it might be a hand. Looking at that. I can't quite make out what I'm colouring. I'm just sort of making up a bit. There we go. Now the background to the wallpaper I thought I would do in a green as well, because I sort of thought yellow, and then it's such a bright colour. So I'm just going to use the willow green. It's not, the lime green is paler, but it's more fluorescent, as I was saying. So this is 50, and I'm just going to do all the background. I think I'll start here, just gently. Again, we don't want it too dark. We're just filling in, you know. You can go over your green if you want with this, because it won't really matter. What's that? It's a bit of that, isn't it? It needs to be in this 43. So yes, if you like the idea of a sort of colour along type thing where you know, do a picture that other people are also doing and then sort of share them. There are lots on Instagram, and I usually look at Passionista, Colorista, because Isabel shares a lot of them at the beginning, on the first day of the month, so you can go and have a little look. And there are month-long ones, year-long ones. Some are very specific pages, some are specific books, some are colour palettes or themes, so it might be colour a lady with purple hair, colour a... See, I'm not sure about here. I think I'm just going to do this in this colour. It might be colour this particular page from this very specific book. It might be here's a colour palette, which is actually something that Amanda Colours does too. Some of her challenges or colour alongs are a particular palette from the colour cube cards, that sort of thing. Okay, the only thing I'm thinking in my version is this one is significantly lighter than this one, so I'm just going to put a little bit more down just so they don't look a bit old. There we go, and I'm hoping that'll just blend back and disappear. So we've got these I would say rubber plant, cheese plant, something like that, so I'm going to colour that next. I'm just going to do this one quite differently because it's one of our foreground items. So this is number 5. Now we've got the stem here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to layer it up a little bit more so it stands out, but I'm not going to do, I'm going to just do this one colour over all of it to start with, and then I'll see where I want to go lighter and darker. We have these little holes in the plant, which we'll have to be a bit more aware of when we do the mirror. I assume this is the mirror. She looks very relaxed, doesn't she, on the sofa there. You can't see all of her. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. Paranoid. She's listening to a record, isn't she, there, lying back, enjoying. That's something that I don't really like to do, listening to music. I used to. I remember I used to come in from work when I lived with my sister, and we would put on Smooth Classics from Classic FM after we'd eaten our meal. And we had two little sofas, and we'd have one each, and we'd lie back. They were quite short like this, was probably a really similar position. And read a book, listen to the music, that sort of thing. Yeah. Or just natter. So that was interesting. But I don't do that anymore. I think because I live with noisy people, or some of the people are noisy, particularly my husband, when I relax, I like quiet. You know, I like a stillness. So it's different. I actually had a lovely relaxing breakfast this morning. It's Monday, so no one's at work today. And had a bit of a lie, and my son's tired, so he didn't get up. So I stayed in bed. I didn't lie, and I sat up. I read a book. And I'm still reading my mindfulness book, actually. Is it Kabat-Zinn? Full Catastrophe Living or something like that it's called. It's very interesting, I have to say. I think so anyway. Anyway, so I was reading that, and then this is 55. I'm going to put in a few darker bits. I'm not really sure where. I just want it to look a bit more interesting, and I think I'm just going to put a bit at the end of the leaves like this. And so I got up and no one else was up. My son had messaged me to say he was awake so I could get up, which he does once he wakes up. Because if I get up before he does, I wake him up. And it's fine when he's got to go to work. Of course, he needs to be up. But he didn't today, so it was all worked out very well. Anyway, he messaged me, so I got up. Husband had woken up too. I went down, no one was up. They out of bed. They were all sort of just in bed still. So I made my breakfast, and I went and ate it out in the garden. I've never had breakfast in the garden before, apart from when I was on holiday, and it was a determined effort. I was like, look, I have been thinking about this for a while, where I mentioned it in a video before actually, where I had read in a book where it said, you know, you should have a holiday at home, do things that you would do on holiday. And I thought, well, when I had a holiday in Mallorca when I was quite young, youngish, with my parents, I'm just going to go back over with my 5 to sort of blend it in a little bit and just make it even darker. We used to eat outside all the time because it was really hot, and I don't know if we actually had breakfast outside, but we did eat. I remember having watermelon outside and spilling it all over the floor because we cut it outside and everything, so it was less messy. And the ants all came. They had a field day. Anyway, they're so big, the ants there. But anyway, I made my cereal, and I took my bowl out and popped on my shoes, and I just sat out on the little garden benches with the new cushions that we'd had done this summer, and just sat in silence and ate my breakfast and listened to the birds and different things like that was going on. It was really different. It was a lovely experience, really, you know. So that was rather nice. So I enjoyed that this morning. Because I'd been thinking about, you know, what is it about holidays? Because I want a holiday, no one else does. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to do something. What is it about holidays? I'm going to make this frame look like wood, I hope. I'm going to have a go. I'm going to start with this one. This is the 7. Yes, so I was thinking, well, let's do things that can make it feel more like you're on holiday when you're at home. So reading books is something that I used to always do on holiday that I really don't do very much at home. So that was the first change that I put in. So I'm now got a book on the go. So that's good. I don't always have time to read it every day, but just having one there by the bed, you know, and I also think normally when I'm on holiday, I have some sort of epiphany about how I want to live my life when I get back home, changes that I want to make and things like that. And I actually had one at the weekend when I was chatting to my cousin and she visited, and I was just thinking about how I wanted to maybe have a day off a week. I don't take any time off at the moment. You know, I make videos every day if I've got time. The only reason I might take a day off is if, you know, family are visiting or things like that. This is 76. I thought maybe I need to make an effort to have a day off a week. And I was thinking a bit harder about this, and I haven't planned to put that into place yet because I've got to sort of organise myself. But what I decided to do is, what I was thinking about is I waste so much time on social media, just looking at various posts and reels and bits and bobs and just refreshing Facebook and seeing who's done what and reading the news over and over. Why do I do that? I don't know. I'm going to make this a bit darker on the edges somehow. So as that, if I don't waste all that time, I've got time to myself where I can have an extra long walk or you know, do more meditation or do some yoga, things like that, because I just can't fit it in, because basically I've noticed that the work you have to do tends to fit the space that you have, and so if you don't plan very much, you tend to just do it slowly, you know. So so I'm like, right, I need to just make a bit more of a concentrated effort so that I can make more time. So on 77, I'm going to put a few more of these sort of lines in, make it look a bit more woody. On Friday, for example, I wrote myself a to-do list, and I got a huge amount of work done and jobs done, all sorts of different things. I've got hiccups, I'm so sorry. Household chores and work-related things, made videos, all sorts. So that I am capable of sort of squeezing a lot of work into a small amount of time, which means that then I have the opportunity to take some time off. And I don't feel like I need time off in that sense. Work certainly isn't at all stressful for me. This is 85. I'm going to use it to put a little bit of shadow under this mirror to make it look like it's not flat with the wall, and hopefully we'll give it a slightly more three-dimensional look. We'll see if I can make that work. And I'm just thinking, although work isn't at all stressful, colouring is a lot of fun, it's relaxing, etc. I need to make sure that I'm not wasting the time in between when I'm doing that, and I don't want to just be messing around, you know, or taking longer doing these things than necessary, so then I don't have time to sort of do other things like having nice walks and that sort of thing. So that was how I was thinking. So yeah, so that was good. I'm not sure how much difference that's made, but in my mind I feel like I've done something. Now the mirror, I'm going to go for, I'm just going to examine my swatches, because for the mirror I want some silver, a colour that looks like silvery. I think actually that Dove Grey is going to be the best one. I was having a nice natter this morning actually. What number is that? 83. I went outside to do my meditation and my neighbour was hanging out her washing. I hadn't noticed her there. So we had a lovely chat and a catch up. This is 83, talked about all sorts of things, and had a bit of a moan about the number of alarms that keep going off. Like, she thinks they're building alarms. I thought they were car alarms, but I think she might be right, because they don't stop. With a car alarm, it rings for a bit and then it stops and then it starts again, whereas this one just goes and then it stops after about an hour. So I think she might be right. but she had made a complaint to someone about it and it seems to have stopped. So she said, I'm not saying it was me. I said, oh, I hope it is. That's good. There we go. It's not perfect, but I think it's okay. Right, sorry, just stop and wipe my nose. Right, we're sort of moving down. Now, I'm always a little bit confused as to what colour to colour her. But what I think I'm going to do is do a very light brown and then darken certain bits. So I think I'm going to use the fawn, which is 49. Here it is. 49. And then cut, I think I'm going to do all of her with this. And then I'll put in some other colours, even a sort of hair bit. Although when I coloured her here, I did her hair sort of brown, like her ears. Anyway, let's just put her back in the middle. I'm sure that's her hand. It certainly looks like her hand. And this now is, I'm trying to work out, is that her ear and that a cushion? And what's this? Is that a cushion or her ear? You're going, well, that's what you're supposed to be telling us, not asking. Right, I'm going to just do this bit. I know that's her face, obviously. And I'm thinking this is obviously joined here, but I'm thinking that bit is the sort of lace on the cushion, I think. So I think it's that. I'm just trying to work out what these stripes are. Do her arm. So I'm using the side of the pencil so that I only get a really delicate bit of colour out of the pencil out, as if it's a pen. No, off maybe is the right word, I don't know. Now that line there, I'm thinking, I thought that was the back of the sofa, but now I'm looking at it thinking maybe it is, maybe it's a bit of the wallpaper. That maybe it's a bit of a flower. But we haven't got any other wallpaper up here. It's a little bit strange. Have a think about that as well. It's really weird. I woke up this morning and I had butterflies in my stomach and I had no idea why. Now that's her trouser. That's her trouser. Oh, letterbox has just gone. Now is that her ear or a pillow? I'd like to think it's a pillow. Right, now I think she's a bit red. So I'm going to go over with something. I'm going to use this 85. Now this is the grey brown. Now I don't want to press very hard because I don't want her to look grey, but I just want to sort of dull her down a bit. That sounds horrible. I want to make her look a bit less red. I think it's working. I wonder what came through the letterbox. Not expecting anything. So I have ordered a book, but I'm waiting for a book, but it's not due to come out till the 21st. What's the date today? It's only the 11th. It'll be today. Anyway, we'll see. I'll go and have a look later. I'm finding it really hard to know what sorts of pictures to colour at the moment. I think it's because I'm just sort of waiting for Johanna's new book. But it's ages yet. But I finished the other one and I'm just sort of like, you know, what shall I do? Right, that's that. It looks a bit scruffy actually, but we'll get there. Yours might not be scruffy at all. I'm going to use the 73 now. This is a bit orangey again though, isn't it? don't think I want her to be orange. I'm not going to, no, I'm lying. I'm not going to use that at all. Yeah, what a terrible liar. I am going to use 76. Definitely using 76. So where there are the dots, I'm going to colour that little bit darker. Like that. And then just sort of fade it out a bit like that. Not sure what to do here. I feel like this is her hair. I just sort of guess a bit with her. There we go. I guess eventually I'll probably come up with a way of colouring her as a standard way, like I did with Matchstick Mouse, where I always coloured certain bits in certain ways. Maybe if I wonder how she's coloured on the front. She isn't. Sometimes I copy what Morgan O'Brien does, because obviously he has an idea of how he wants his characters coloured. So if you go to his Instagram page, he's copied in coloured in some of the pages where he colours digitally, but it doesn't really make that much difference. Well, maybe a little bit here. Okay, I want to go back with another colour now. I'd really like a beige. I think I'm going to use the number 7. It's the brown. It's the light brown. It is quite dark. I mean, it's quite orangey, sorry. But I'm going to sort of do that. Might leave that bit darker because it's her hair. I might go back over it actually with that darker colour. I can't remember what she is. Is she a llama or an alpaca? I can't remember. There'll be a bit of shadow in between the feet. I think we'll do that in 85. Here it is. And then a bit along here. Just going to sort of try and blend it in a bit. And there. Same here, look. A little bit under here. Down here. Sorry, I'm concentrating a bit. Not really talking very much, am I? Went for a nice walk along the canal this morning. We were going shopping. So we walked along there. And it's quite sunny today. It's due to get quite hot later. But it was fine, it was pleasant. I didn't feel too hot when I came back. So that was nice. There we go. I think, now what colour did I do her originally? I did her in this I did her in a light layer of 49. I'm just going to go over the paler bits with a light layer of 49, I think. Just so she isn't quite so pale, and to just, like here for example, the grey that I use looks a bit messy, so I'm just wanting to go over it a little bit to tidy it up slightly. Do you think she's snoozing or just listening and engrossed? I don't know. Go. Now we can do her clothes, I think, next. I'm just going to do her I think maybe she's got jeans on. I'm going to grab a 63 and do her trousers in this sort of grey blue, which I think is a bit denim-like. Denim. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't quite look like denim, because it could just be blue. Quite short, aren't they? Perhaps it's a hot day. So I'm trying to just put down a layer, and then I'm going to see where to sort of layer it up a little bit extra. So just trying to work out where's her leg. It's here, isn't it? It's this bit. But is it all of that? Yeah. I think it must be. There. Yeah, that's it. So now I'm going to sharpen up a little bit so I can put a little bit, I can put a bit more pressure down. I mean, get a bit of a darker colour, more intensity because of the point of the pencil. So I want it darker under here. Now I want this whole bit darker really, but where it's right next to her leg, that would be the darkest bit. And then I want this bit to be a little bit darker because it's underneath. This bit could be quite significantly so, but here a little bit. Don't want it to be as dark as here. Like that. I'm just going to go over what I've done because it's a bit liney here, a little bit scruffy. Try and neaten it up a little bit. And a bit darker under there. And lastly, before we finish for today, I'm just thinking about her blouse. And I'm thinking maybe just a delicate pink. Does she look like a pinky person to you? I'm actually going to use this pink. This is the 25. I like it. I'm going to use it really lightly. And then I will just put in some slightly darker areas where there's a bit of shadow. So under here, a bit darker I would say, and here got like a little belt or something going on here, or just a crease, I'm not sure. Either way, you can just acknowledge it with a little stroke of colour. And then underneath the collar a little bit, around the edge of the sleeve there, and maybe a little bit darker just there. There we go. I think that's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go and find out what people have done this as. I'm sure it's not an ear. I'm sure it might be a little cushion or something. But as I say, I'm going to go and find out how other people have coloured it and see what makes sense to me, and see if Morgan O'Brien's done it, because that would be the ultimate answer, wouldn't it? So there she is, and in the next video we'll start the sofa, I think. See, I'm even wondering whether that's not Maria and it's a cushion. We'll find out. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope that you have a really super rest of your day, and happy colouring.